Sup it up, and welcome back to the 75th annual Four Aces Motorcycle Club Hare and Hound Moose Run. This is Dan with Grip It and Rip It. Man, I am so stoked to have come out and raced this Sunday. I missed the last one, super bummed about it, but then I heard that it was apparently insanely hard and difficult, which I know some people love. As you guys are learning, I'm like, I need a mixture of challenging but also something doable, and obviously that range differs from person to person. Obviously the better I get, more experience I have, I want to be challenged more, but at the same time, I hate the idea of who knows if lap 2 is going to try and kill me or just make it fun with some sprinkling of difficulty in there. Anyway, bummed I missed the last one, and then coming into this weekend camping with friends, wasn't entirely sure if I was going to be able to actually race or not because I was with the whole family. I didn't want to put pressure on the family because we got 3 kids and it's a lot, to leave from 7 a.m. and come back at 3 or 4 p.m. because, again, I'm slow and I suck, so I take 5 hours to do a full race versus some people that can bust it out in 3 and it's zero impact on their family. But luckily, my wife and one of our buddies that we were camping with, they cohorted together, and my wife and 3 kids went home in one of our neighbors' RVs and left me alone to go race, which was a really nice treat. Obviously, my ambitions were to do the entirety of 2 laps, but I only made it to about mile 50 of lap 2, of the total race, and then I decided to call it for a multitude of reasons. And one thing I wanted to start by saying is I've had a lot of people ask me, like, man, isn't there a lot of risk in what you do, and it just seems like a lot to put on your family if you get hurt. And I've said, I feel like I've done a pretty good job of finding the line of having fun, pushing yourself, but also being super conservative in choosing when is a good time to call it. Because there are times like this race where I could have just pushed myself for another 2 hours and finished, but just the risk, I feel like, increases more and more and more. So I decided at mile 50, I was like, you know what, I'm good. Let's head back. Here's the main road to Trona, and it was easy. So, easy decision for me. Having said that, with this race, started out a little different. The last race I did was the Checkers race, which was the massive single line bomb run, which was cool to experience once, and like I said on the previous race, I don't think I'd want to do that again. There's just too much dust, and I talked to a couple of people about it at this race, and they all said we didn't see ribbon for the first 8 miles, which kind of sucks. It's just, you don't want to be wondering where you're going. With that, on this race, they did a 36 or 40 line heat release. So every 30 seconds, they're letting one line of, let's say, 15 people go. And sometimes faster than that. And it was nice because the dust was down. But I felt like it wasn't as exciting of a start. I felt like a 4 or 5 line start is kind of the way to do it. You let all the novices go, etc., etc. But with that being said, I really enjoyed the course that they had started to lay out for the most part, and you'll see it pretty soon here, I was definitely finding me and different groups of guys were getting lost. So while they were using the Caselli system, I don't know if it was the best implementation of it. There weren't a whole lot of 3-2-1 turns. They were there, but there were a lot of single arrows and then not enough ribbon directly after it to know exactly where to go, or a W sign to know where to go or where to not go. And so I felt like, for me, and again, everyone has their own opinion and is probably better at navigating than I am because I am terrible at it, but I felt like it was a little mentally taxing because in the beginning, me and several people were getting off course, and then I was like, great, now I'm double aware of where should I be, and getting lost or not lost. Am I in the right part of the course? And I just felt like that was just one little bit extra of me just kind of getting tired. Secondly, I've been on the same set of tires since almost 2 years now. I don't ride nearly as hard as everybody or do hard enduro stuff where I'm just burning through rubber, but I'm definitely noticing that my tread has finally fallen off and it's time for new tires. And there were several moments where I was feeling the front end just kind of wash out on stuff I wouldn't normally do it. And then of course now I'm thinking about it, shit, I need new tires for half this race. I'm like, I need tires, and that's all I'm thinking about. So mentally, those were kind of the two things that were frustrating me a little bit. It's coming off of some sweet stomach bug, and things coming out both ends just 4 days prior to this. So I felt like physically my conditioning was in a really good shape. I could have finished this race, but I only had maybe one whole day of feeling 100% prior to it. So I kind of went out just going, you know what, let's just enjoy this and have fun, and if you want to call it, just call it. And it's kind of once I re-accept that mentality, I had a lot of fun. And there were a ton of fun sections of lap 1 of this race. Really cool, sort of like single track creek bed stuff that wasn't like overly technical, but it was just fun. It was like kind of the thing you would do with a group of people, totally that type of a ride. I felt like the lap 1 on this race was the closest to an actual lap 1 in the last like 4 races that I've done. And I had this conversation with somebody as well who will remain anonymous about how I guess some of the clubs have been getting flack for lap 1s being too difficult, and not that's to say the whole lap 1 is difficult. I remember when I first started doing these races, lap 1s would have like one hill that was supposed to be like fun, and just you might get stuck on it, but it was still like very doable. But that was about it. But then there were some lap 1s that were like, well, wait a second, what the stuff they're putting here is a little hairier. And while most people who do lap 2 would be like, yeah, lap 1, whatever, like we just did it, but kind of sucks for people that want to do this for the first time. And I want everybody to do the stuff I'm doing, and so when I have friends that start to get into dirt biking or are biking, and I want to like tell them about how cool Hare and Hounds are, and I'm like, yeah, even if you just do lap 1, you should have fun, and you come out and it sucks because it's really difficult, I feel like an asshole because I'm putting them in a position to either hurt themselves or not have fun, because the whole point is to have fun. Obviously there are people here trying to win, that's a different story. But I would say that like generally 80% of the people doing these races, probably 95% of these people doing races aren't making any kind of money. We're paying to be here, paying to have fun. So there's some version of, oh look, this is where we're like, where are we? There's a whole group of people have no idea where they are. So we end up having to, I think, turn around and find some riveting end. And then what's unfortunate is that once we're back on track, I think the whole line of people that started directly after us are all clearly right in front of us. But anyways, I felt like this lap 1 was really good, and I'm hoping that moving forward on the next 2 races and then going into next year, some of the clubs focus on making lap 1 just like a blast. It should be like anything you'd want to do with a group of people. And that old adage that was in the description for lap 1s, which is that like no novice should have to get off their bike during a lap 1. I think that's like a great kind of starting point. So with this lap 1, super fun, really enjoyed it. I've been really trying to continue to balance that line of like improvement, ride faster, but also stay safe. The previous Checkers race, a good friend of mine, George, hardcore enduro, he had a big off, really fucked himself up off of something simple, and he was going fast, but he hit some kind of shrub, bump, middle-sized bump, hilly thing out in the desert on a flat area, and it just hucked him off his bike. So of course I've got that in my head. I always think of Clayton Roberts coming off the bomb run, and it's just, there's scary shit can happen. So obviously there's a risk reward thing there, but you're trying to find the safest and the best times to pass people while also going like, I want to make sure when I go offline I'm not gonna like hit some tombstone rock that just hucks me into the ground or whatever. But this race I was actually trying a little more to get offline and pass people. One, because it was dusty and I was losing track of what I was actually seeing on the ground. But I was just really actively trying to look ahead. And having race cars for a really long time, some of my best instructors have always told me, like, use the top half of your windscreen. So when I was riding and passing people, I was trying to look on like the top half of just sort of like the plane, right? And I felt like that really helped, like really trying to see the line ahead of time, like, okay, where are shrubs, where are hills, where are potential obstacles, and then through that finding good opportunities to pass. And then of course you can throw all that out the window when I pass 10 people and then have to stop and replace my GoPro battery and then repass everybody again. So trying to not eat my own words and trying to live by my own words, and I'm not trying to win anything. I get stuck on this stupid thing. I was in second gear, so I kept having flame outs. That was super fun. But really trying to not get in my head when people repass me, because I will stop to replace my GoPro batteries. It's important to me to like film everything. I love doing it. And I've also missed stuff when I decide to not replace my battery. So I'm like, no, just do it. Fuck it. People pass you, whatever. When I'm a professional racer making money, then maybe I won't do that. But I am, however, on the next race going to try one of these giant battery packs and just hardwire it into the camera and just let it run the whole time and just never think about it. I think that'll be good. So really enjoyed this terrain. Got to get some new tires, and finally put some new graphics on my bike. You can see them. I got the tropical camo to match my jersey. Now everybody can finally see me, and I do intrinsically really enjoy when people go, hey, you're grip it and rip it, and that's a lot of fun. And I finally hit a really cool metric and got a notification from YouTube that we got over 100,000 hours of view time. I've only got 380 subscribers, so it would be super cool to have more people subscribe, because I think once I hit 1,000 subscribers, then I can actually generate some money from this stuff. And what's weird is I think I'd be making more because of the view hours. Like, it shows people on average are watching this for like an hour and a half, which is like a freaking movie. And you'll hear me regurgitate this exact fact later at this one bottleneck when I run into like 2 or 3 people that are aware of the channel, which is kind of cool. So I don't know, it's kind of fun, and it's a little motivating to keep filming and doing these races. So really enjoying trying to make these races as much as I can. So I was like on this high from the Checkers race. That was super fun. I missed the last race, and I was like, now I can't film anything. I need it on my YouTube. But fuck that. It's fine. Shit happens. Can't make all the races. Was really happy to be out at this one. Ended up really enjoying lap 1. And lap 2 was a good time. But there are 2 problems for me. One, I do a pretty good job at not rushing myself out of the pits. Very happy I did that, because I ran up on this giant line of like 15, 20 people waiting to go up a hill climb that you had no possible way of going around any other way. And it would bottleneck down to like something as narrow as this, essentially. So there's you could not have 2 people at the same time do it. So everyone's just waiting. So I'm happy that I took my time in the pits, because I would have been waiting in that line anyway. But I'm also bummed because I just burned what felt like, and probably was, about 30 minutes of just waiting. So I'm like, got my heart rate going, I'm riding, I'm feeling good, I'm ready to tackle lap 2. and then it's like, no, wait 30 minutes. So then it's like adrenaline comes down, heart rate comes down, and that's okay. But I felt like after that, I was almost more tired. Like I cooled down too much. And after that, there was a hill climb, which I should have been able to do, but it took me 2 attempts. I still didn't get it. But the hill was in this weird spot with like thicker sand that you could just sort of dig your rear wheel in. So even though I had opportunities to go up it, I couldn't because it took people forever to just sort of turn their bike around on the hill. So that was like another 30-minute hill. So I'm practically an hour back from like my friends who started just 2 lines in front of me. They left the pits right when I got there, and they're pretty quick at pitting. So I knew I wasn't super far behind them, like maybe 10 minutes, maybe. But when I DNF'd at mile 50, they had already finished an hour before me. So I had 28 miles to go, came back, and they had already finished 45 minutes prior, which means those 2 hills for me, put me well over an hour behind the pace. And I was like, I can't finish this race at like 4 o'clock today. That's insane. So that was a little frustrating for me on lap 2. I'm down for the challenges. I'm not down for potentially bottlenecked obstacles. Like, stuff will get bottlenecked. It is inevitable that people wait for certain obstacles, but when it's like that and you have course workers there because you know it's going to be an issue, it's like, maybe rethink this part of the race so that you don't have people just like waiting and waiting and waiting. And if you are going to have those, have the race on Saturday. So we're not packing up our rigs at 5, 6, 7 o'clock because the race took forever because of all these bottlenecks. Done with the tangent. I was feeling pretty good about my speed off the start. I felt pretty good. I felt like I actually was able to hold the throttle a little more wide open, and I think that is credit to it only being like 10 people in my line versus like 80, where it could potentially get dusty like right away. But out in this open desert, I was actually feeling a pretty good pace, and I was feeling pretty good about staying consistent with my speed and not just trying to have huge bursts of speed, but just being consistent. I definitely feel like over the course of all these races, trying to keep a smooth, consistent pace has proved to provide successful results. Like in passing people, like don't try and pass the guy in front of me, just ride smooth, stay consistent. He might not be consistent, so then you'll end up passing him, and it definitely proved that way. Through this single track creek section, same thing. It is not a fast section, but I passed like 3 people that had good paces out in the open desert. I passed them through those creek sections from simple mistakes. And that's not mistakes because I'm trying to ride faster than them. I think it's mistakes from something they were doing, and then it helps from me just being like, I'm always right there. Nice and smooth, not trying to do anything fancy. I just don't want to make a mistake versus me trying to push myself and then increasing the risk of some simple drop the bike and then somebody passes me. So overall, I'm actually really happy with how I did lap 1. I checked the results and I was 16th out of, for lap 1 times, I was 12th out of 22 in my class, which is pretty good because I'm usually like the bottom 2 slowest for lap 1. So I feel like I'm getting a little quicker without trying to be faster, which is really kind of the goal. All I want to do is keep doing these races, as you guys have heard me say a million times. I want to keep doing these races, and part of that is just staying consistent and not trying to go like, okay, how do I cut an hour off my time? It's like, no. It's not how do you cut an hour. It's how do you cut like 10 minutes. And a lot of that is like for these really complicated downhills that they like throwing in there. And I am enjoying them more. Even if I walk down them, it's okay. But I feel like for the big, long, hairy downhills, being smooth down those is one of those places you can make up a ton of time versus people walking their bikes. So that's something I'm kind of got in my head is just be smooth. For the big downhills, if you can ride down it, you will definitely, that is where you'll make up the time. I don't think I'm really making up the time in the open desert parts. I'm certain that, you know, Dalton Shirey and Zane Roberts and Trevor Hunter, those guys are making up time because they're riding like 98 miles an hour versus my like 24 miles an hour. But for me, it's those like kind of mid-length technical sections that you can be smooth through. That's where you can pick up minutes on people that can't get through there smooth. Moving forward, I'm putting in chapters again like I did in the previous videos, where I'll chime back in on certain sections instead of just talk for like an hour straight. Thank you guys, really appreciate all the feedback, all the comments and likes. Please subscribe, it helps me. Well, it actually doesn't help me do anything, but it would be cool to have more subscribers, because I'd love to make a Taco Bell burrito and a taco off of one of these videos. That would be the goal. I guess the goal would be like a Chili's dinner paid for by the money from one of these videos. So if we could do that, let's work together for me to get a Chili's dinner from one of these videos. Alright, I'm going to sign off, sup it up, and then I'm going to sign back on wherever else I mark this video. Probably be through the creek section. Alright, sup it up, do it. Thank you. we are. We got the single track creek section coming in here. This was a shit ton of fun. I really like this. This was where they had a quad alt. So if you're on an ATV, you would go left. Excuse me. If you were on a bike, obviously go right. They were like, if you're on a bike and you take the quad alt, you're going to go a lot slower, because I guess it was like way longer to get around this stuff. But watching this is not inherently very difficult to do. But you could definitely make like a little bozo mistake, drop your bike, and then boom, somebody's caught up to you. So my whole thing here was like, all right, just be smooth. I wasn't sure if this was going to turn into some kind of weird lap 2 technical rock section, but actually, oddly, was just kind of an enjoyable sort of, I wouldn't say a flowy single track, but you could definitely make it that way just by being smooth. Also, one of the funny things about being in little canyons like this is it's sort of way easier to hear the person behind you, which is a little like gotta go. So here's a small mistake. He obviously got butted off a little bit in a weird spot, but that just probably tacked on 2 minutes for him just to try and re-maneuver back onto this single track that is like immediately off camber if you aren't on it. So again, I was like, okay, stay smooth, don't flame out, just second gear, no clutch, smooth through everything. I also really need to figure out how to lighten up my clutch, because everyone who feels it is like, holy shit, dude, why are you, this is like way too hard. And I've bled it before, but it's just, for whatever reason, on my 500, it is just stiff as shit. I haven't had any weird arm pump on the left side, which is, I don't know what that means, but I would like it to be looser or lighter. My wife's 250 is super light in comparison, so it definitely makes me want to figure out a solution. Maybe I need a new bike. Maybe I need multiple dirt bikes until I find the right clutch. I think that's probably the correct thing to do. Multiple dirt bikes. Got it. I always like these parts too, because I've been really working hard on trying to anticipate. Oh, look at that. A little mess up right there. Oh, and he passed me. Great. Yeah, see? Just like bozo shit. That's how you get past. And there's 2 people. Sweet. 3 people. Awesome. I suck. But I've been working really hard on trying to anticipate. Look at that. Look, now his bike is off. So no, this is not like some steep lap 2 section, but it can be a pain in the ass to get your bike back on this. But I've been trying really hard to anticipate when a hill climb could start. Because on lap 2, there's a lot of times where you come around some like silly little bend and it's like immediately into a climb. And if you don't have momentum like 20 feet prior, you're in a much worse spot. So that's one thing I've been thinking about with just how I'm riding some of these slower sections is like, what is this motorcycle club going to throw at me? So just trying to stay smooth and consistent.
I'm stoked to even be here right now, to be honest. A little mental, need to pump myself up a little bit after the beginning of this course because this marched so poorly.
So this little sandy wash reminded me of the finishing sprint that the Checkers did, I think 2 years ago. And I remember everybody like buzzing through near these train tracks. If I think I remember correctly, it was some section of this, or maybe a different section of the train track, where I remember pros just fucking flying down this to the finish line. So having watched all these videos on Les Touquettes, these guys race it in France on the beach, I was like, all right, I'm going to sit back on my rear fender a little bit, try and open it up a little bit more, and just try and pick up a little bit of speed. But then I'm like, oh, but not too much speed, but also go faster. Use this to go faster, but not too much faster. Definitely one of those times where you could bridge the gap between being conservative and just trying to go faster. And I was like, you know what? I am certain everybody is trying to go faster here, so I'm probably not going to make up too much speed flying balls to walls. So just I'll go a little fast, but just not too fast. A little fast, not too fast. Really enjoyed these sections, so I think stuff like this is fun, and it reminds me a little bit of that would have been a great caution area. Thanks, guys. I think I remember saying in the video, like, the fuck, guys, thanks for no blue tape. But it definitely reminded me a little bit of Johnson Valley, how you kind of get some of that dry lake bed area that just opens up and lets you kind of let her eat a little bit.
buddy. Thank you.
And we are coming into the pits after lap 1. I didn't drink a whole lot of water. My Camelback has been leaking, so I have to keep the part where you drink locked, which is great because I don't drink that much water because it's a pain in the ass to unlock it while riding. But then I'm also like not drinking water, so when I come into the pits I'm like thirsty as shit. And I know I already completely emptied my water jug into my Camelback, so I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to poach some water for some people. But luckily SoCal MC, they're awesome. I rode by and I was like, hey, could I have some water please, I'm thirsty? And they were like, yeah, no problem. So one of the things I told somebody who was doing this race for the first time, I was like, when you're in the pits, don't rush. If you're trying to make money, rush. If you're not making money, take your time, have a banana, get some electrolytes or caffeine, energy, whatever, and hydrate. Use this opportunity to get a ton of water on board and then top off your Camelback. So I was able to do that, and I would rather end the race with a ton of water in my bag than end the race empty, which I've done 2 times now, and it is a shitty feeling having no water and you've got like 10, 12, 15 miles to go. So I'm a big camel when it comes to water and just making sure I have a bunch on board.
Yo.
Going out to loop 2?
Yep.
We'll have fun.
Thank you.
So, the last race in Wagon Wheel did this like traversey, weird through these big rocks through the campgrounds type part, and I just don't care for it. love that I'm on my dirt bike, but as far as like terrain is concerned, in my mind it's the most annoying, because one, you can't go at any kind of like faster pace, and two, it's just I don't know, there's nothing fun. I feel like I'm just around the campground following my like 5-year-old around, which I love doing when I'm following them around, but not when it's like part of the race. It just felt a little like and we'll just have them go through these rocks for a little bit, just whatever. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Alright, we got our first downhill. This is one of those hills you could make up some time on because it's long enough. You could definitely have people that have issues with it. If this was my first Hare and Hound, I would have definitely had an issue coming down this hill. But at the same time, I've seen them put hills like this in lap 1, and that's sort of that factor I was telling you about, where it's like, well, how do we divide what lap 1 and lap 2 is, aside from it being like insanely difficult? There's got to be something there, and that's that, like, no novice should have to get off their bike versus lap 2 is no intermediate should have to get off their bike, which I like that. And then I think we're coming into a couple of our first hills up here. This is just a nice four-wheeler hill, which is funny. It's like there's some hills like this that are challenging for dirt bikes, and somebody in a side-by-side would just fly up this in two-wheel drive, no problem. But then you got other hills that it's easy for dirt bikes to do, and you're like, there's no way a Jeep makes it up this at all. But they do. I think that's partially how all these whoops get made, is people doing burnouts with two wheels. Pretty happy with the weather today. It was warm, but there was a breeze, and you got to appreciate a breeze when you get one, that's for sure. This is one of the first little pretty good moderate hill climbs. I like stuff like this, like just enough rocks to make it difficult, but if you get stuck, you can build up some momentum and traction. I just hate it when you're digging that rear wheel down in the dirt, but it's also very, very, very satisfying making it up stuff like this. And intrinsically, when you see somebody parked on the hill and you pass them, that is definitely a good feeling. The last thing you want to do is be pointed down the other direction.
I guess it's a good thing I didn't rush out of pits.
Oh, what's up, dude? I watch your videos.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Sweet, thanks.
Rip it, right?
What's that?
Rip it and rip it?
That's me.
Hell yeah, man.
I just got a notification that my channel has 110,000 viewing hours.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome, man. Dude, you've been blowing up.
But I need the subscribers to make money.
I got you, bro. I already subscribed. I did too.
Oh, you do? Yeah. Sweet. Yeah, it's cool. It's like everybody's watching it for an average of an hour and a half, which I'm like, that's gnarly. It's like a movie.
I know. Dude, I always put it on, like, I miss a few races a year.
Yeah.
So I watch the races you do that I miss.
Hell yeah.
Dude, it's sick,
do the second loop,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's your name?
Kyler.
Kyler, nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you too.
Oh.
So is it just that last 10 feet that everyone's getting fucked on?
Yeah, right, basically where that blue ribbon is, past there, fucked up.
Cody Webb would just come up along the spine, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Kyler.
So this was a fun hill. Like, I enjoyed it. I did not like waiting 35 minutes for my turn. It does, however, put some added pressure on you to make sure that you actually make it up the hill. I felt pretty confident going up, but at the same time, I'm like, if there's two guys up here helping people, then it's definitely a little hard. I'm an idiot. I thought I was in first gear. I was in second, so I kept having flameouts. I made it up. I know they helped me, but I felt okay about getting up it. It wasn't too overly difficult. I think if they weren't there, I would have managed to get it up. But it was nice having them there. I'm sure it made everything move much smoother and faster having them there. So really appreciate it. I really appreciate having these guys up there and busting their ass in the heat with no easy up or anything. I don't know how they got a cooler up there, or even where their bikes were, but really appreciate those dudes.
I'll have you go off to the right side of the bike. Yeah. Perfect.
Whew.
Call up the relay, go ahead.
Nice.
Thank you, dudes. Seriously. Oh, come on.
And this was a downhill. You could see from where you were staged to do the hill climb. I remember first getting parked and talking to people over there, and we're like, are those people walking their bikes? And it was, in fact, insanely steep. And I was like, you know what, I gotta try and do it. I mean, I see everybody walking, but I should still try and make my way down as much as I can standing, but obviously still stop when I feel like I shouldn't. So I made it down okay, and I think I wait until I drop my bike once, and then I'm like, all right, well, time to walk my bike. But it's one of those things where I'm not sure how much time I would have made up riding it down versus walking.
I think we can get down this carefully.
I saw this guy in front of me walking his bike, and I was like, all right, gotta try. I could probably pass him if I just try and roll down smooth, or at least sit on my bike and put my foot down and use the rear brake. It starts to get a little off camber where you're like turning in one direction but you have all your weight going the other direction. It's fun. It didn't feel overly dangerous, so I'm like okay with it. Sometimes there's stuff that's like so sketchy that you're like, I feel like walking or riding or straddling my bike, there's a possibility to get hurt, but this didn't feel that way. It was just like, just take your time. Yeah, so I do drop my bike, but it wasn't the end of the world. Easy to pick my bike up here, just dumping fuel, as I do.
And now we walk down the thing that I'm pretty sure every single person we saw on the other side of this hill climb walked it up or walked it down. Call that running out of skill. I wouldn't say that sucked. I would say that was actually pretty fun. But I feel bad for those two dudes. ya, buddy. You good, bud?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good. Aloha.
Aloha, 315.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, look at you with your nice little Aloha jacket and all, dude. Nice color, sunrise.
Got to bring the vibe, you know?
Oh, there you go. You got the Pakalolo to go to?
Yep. It is a nice day. Thank you guys for putting this on.
Yeah.
And those two young gentlemen suffering up on the hill with everybody are...
One of them's mine, the one younger is another.
You got a good boy up there.
Thanks.
He's a good dude. So is that other guy.
Cool.
Did you make it up there or they have to help you?
They helped me a little bit. I was stayed in second. I couldn't kick it down into first, so I kept flaming out, and it was, you know,
Yeah.
standard operating procedure.
Cool.
All right, now you'll be able to justify the new purchase of the tire.
Could I bug you to stuff one of those water bottles in my backpack?
Sure.
I have a small feeling I'm going to run dry at some point while I'm out here.
If you're drinking hot heavy by now, you're gonna probably run. That one right now?
I'm good. I just wanted to shove it in the backpack,
Okay.
so if I actually run low.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it in the big pocket, I think.
Yeah, so not the goggle, not the hard one, but
Oh.
the main big one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
orange on it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the big one.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That is much appreciated.
Yeah, you're at mile marker 45. So.
Sweet. Oh, in first place, right?
Exactly. Overall.
Overall, that's what I heard.
Awesome. Way to keep going.
Alrighty, see ya. Hell yeah, buddy. What's up?
This was one of those hills where I was like, do I try it? Do I try and ride down it? And then I was like, nah. It's really hard to see in the GoPro, but it is super, like, you're gonna hear me say this a lot, super off camber. Now you can kind of feel how you're getting this kind of like slant to the left on top of it being super steep downwards. And you want to be on your rear brake, but you need to be leaning to the right. So that's when I was like, you know what? If I can't use my rear brake through this, I'm just going to get off. So then I was like, all right, yeah, just walk my bike. But I only had to take it down just a couple of feet. And again, I'd rather just, it is just not worth it for me to try and do something insanely difficult and hurt myself for the sake of 5 feet. So just walk it, get back on. And then I was happy to ride my bike down the rest of the way. So that worked out. But it was always interesting to see those kind of obstacles. I'm sure if I had a little more energy, I would have just attempted to ride through it, but at the time, being a little gassed, I was like, yeah, just play it safe.
Bike.
So this was a cool moment for me. I'm almost positive I saw people do this hill or section before in an older Hare and Hound race, where I think I might have only done lap 1 and then I watched to see what lap 2 looked like, and I'm pretty sure people came down this hill. This is pretty great because I'm pretty happy with how far down I make it, and I think I would have made it all the way, minus me almost taking a total header into one of these rocks, which you'll see. I have a pretty good pace, not too out of control, but there's this little section where it's probably more due to me being tired than running out of skill as far as just how I decided to fall. But it felt good to be like, hey, I'm going down the thing that I would not have done on my first couple of races. So here it is coming up. It's a trick of keeping momentum, and if you lose it, it just makes it harder. Not this part, but shortly after this is when I see this fun rock that almost takes out my head. Come on. It is incredibly steep, though. So we'll get a little momentum. Really excited to make it down the rest of the hill, and we'll drop our bike, and there's a big rock out. Woo. That's when I was like, maybe I do walk a little more. And maybe I continue to go to the gym, so I'm good at push-ups and good at catching myself from hitting my head into the rock. Also, this is like the third time, or maybe the first of 3 times when I'm picking my bike up down on a hill and lifting it all the way up. So it's like picking it up at 5 o'clock and bringing it all the way up to 1 o'clock versus the other way.
Sorry, George. I'm walking this one. What's up?
Thank you.
Not too bad of a stroll, actually. I just don't want to do another one of those. Oh. That's how you gas yourself. This is not steep. sloppy tired, which is good. Grip it and rip it, dude.
Way more than I expected.
Did you do one attempt already?
Yeah, I did.
How far up did you make it?
About where that guy.
Got it. You want to give her another go?
Yeah.
Oh.
Here's the hill, 2 attempts, fail both of them. Decided to leave in all the video of me struggling to figure out if I should turn my bike around or try and get back up the hill. I actually had the best run in this first attempt. And I should have made it up, but I just went too far left and there's no clear path, and there goes my bike and we're down. And there's my belt, or my boot buckle. But see, this is like bike facing down the hill and having to pick it up is just, maximum
do better.
weight that I need to lift. And later on, you'll hear that guy up the hill yelling at what I think is his son down below on how to get his bike unstuck. But yeah, it's just fucking heavy ass bike, trying to figure out how to maneuver it up this hill using the least amount of energy, but still end up using the most amount of energy. So I'm going to mess around with the bike here for a bit, try it again, fail, go around the hill, and then decide, you know what, we're done. I thought maybe I was further than 50 miles. If I was at like 65, I probably would have stuck with it, but when I saw the 50-mile marker, I was like, you know what, we're done here. Let's just call it and go, and I'm happy I did because I still had to load up the fifth wheel, load up all the toys, and head out. And I got home by 7:30, and I'm like imagining I would have gotten home at like 9:30 or 10 had I tried to actually finish lap 2. So all in all, I'm happy. Not hurt, sore in a good way, and just happy I was even able to get out and race. For those of you still listening, sup it up. Hopefully I make it out to the next one. If not, I am definitely going to do the one in April with SoCal MC. Sup it up. Do it.
Do we try it again? Or... Got no footing. Dad screaming at their kids. I think we're calling it. I think. Speed! Speed, speed, speed!
Speed?
Got to. Just don't let off. Don't let off. Sit back. This'll be my,
Wide the fuck open. Alright.
this'll be my third attempt and then I'm out. I've done two. The first one I got higher, the second one I tried to do second gear the whole time and then I hit like one rock leaning too far back, so I just looped it. But I think kicking down into first for the last 25% is the ticket.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Don't go, just try not to go left because it just gets thicker. That's where everybody's like crashing out.
Oh, so go right?
Just stay a little more right. So just a bunch of holes from people digging themselves in. You got it, dude. Nope, no way. Nope. Just fucking rip it up there, dude.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna turn around. Or not. He stopped exactly where I did on the first. We did it.
Huh?
I said we found it.
Looking more downhill?
Probably. What is the fastest way back to the staging pits area?
Staging. Right up there, just before the stop sign, is Pipeline Road. Are you going back?
I think I might.
Okay, are you 315?
I am 315.